Bienvenidos, amigos, vecinos, which is friend and neighbor in Spanish. My name is Mike Ayala, and I am an occupational therapy student at the University of Texas at Tyler, which is about 9 hours north of where I'm from. I'm currently in McAllen, Texas, so I just wanted to share an easy recipe with y'all of PicoDeGallo, folks, which is beak of the chicken. This is a staple here in a Ayala household, along with many households, I'm sure, across the nation and restaurants. So this is a very chunky Mexican salsa that anybody can make. For the visual purposes, I am standing up right now, but you can easily make this sitting down if you needed to conserve some energy, if you just didn't have the strength and the endurance, by all means, shape, and form. So we just need a few ingredients to make this a rocking salsa today. So we're just gonna use some lime, which I have here. I have all the ingredients here. We're gonna have some lime, we're gonna have some tomato, some onion, some cilantro, a little bit of avocado, and I'll show you for that. That can go in the salsa, or we can dress it up later on as well too. So most important ingredient that we need is just have a good time and some love in order to get this done, okay folks? So let's go ahead and get started. Everything's already be pre-washed. That's a very important step. So we already did that already. So we're just kind of fast forward into the actual making of the salsa itself. So we got our cutting board right here. And we'll start in any order, really, to be honest with you. We usually start with the tomato just because we like to get that over and done with first. And we got our bowl right here that's gonna serve as our serving tray. So again, the tomatoes, you only need a few. You can make as much of this salsa or as little as you want. So for this purpose, we're gonna be using about 3 tomatoes. Make sure that you have a good sturdy working surface and also a good sturdy knife and cutting board. So that way make sure that we are not prone to any injuries. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and we're just gonna start cutting this tomato here. Of course, we keep in mind, safety is number one thing. For y'all that, if you have some trouble handling things, we also have some gloves as well too that we can put on for sanitary purposes, or for the simple fact that in the event that we are going to be handling some onions, so in that way you don't go ahead and touch your eye, because we also have a serrano pepper. I'm sorry I didn't mention that before, folks. We have serrano pepper or a jalapeno pepper that can go into this PicoDeGallo. So for sure, we don't want to be touching our eyes anytime after that. So that's why the gloves are a good safety protocol. And of course, we're listening to salsa in the background just to get the juices flowing a little bit better. You can do any music of choice, but we like, while we're making salsa, might as well listen to some salsa, right? So here, some folks will pit the tomato and leave it out, or you can go ahead and just do how I'm doing it right now and just go ahead and start cutting it. We're not looking for anything fancy, just good, nice chunks of tomato. And these ends we can go ahead and just get rid of or save them for later on. Once you're cutting, then go ahead and start putting it in the bowl. And we're gonna mix all that up later on as well too. So here, if there's some visual problems that you're having, instead, you can always use different contrast cutting boards or knives just to help you out a little bit with the safety, okay? Sorry about that. I have my trash can here to dispose of anything that we don't need anymore. We're gonna do one more tomato, okay? I so appreciate you all joining us here in the Ayala household. It's a pleasure. And just take your time with this, folks. The most important thing is for y'all to be safe. We don't want anybody cutting any fingers or any of that. I'm gonna go on to my cilantro, fresh cilantro right here. It's already been pre-washed, so we don't have to use the whole bunch right here. It just depends on the flavor for everybody's palate. So same thing, just roughly cut it. So this salsa is a nice chunky salsa, so we don't have to be precise or perfect with it. And of course, we're gonna share this with family, friends, neighbors, company, anybody. There you go. We're gonna move this, transfer it over to this bowl, and then we'll show you the finished product here in a little bit once we get there. Move the cilantro, the rest of it on the side. Move on over to the onion, okay? Now the onion, what I purchased here is a big onion, but we can always just cut as little as much as y'all want. And then from there, we can go ahead and save the rest of the onion for any other type of recipes. We wanna make sure to get that top layer of this onion off. We don't want that coming off in the salsa. And whatever works for you guys. I know everybody's got a little different method in regards to how you peel that first layer off. So whatever works for y'all. Take your time. It's not a race. The most important thing is for us to be safe and have a good time. Usually as one of us is making something here, the other one's outside barbecuing or hosting some company. So here, you can either turn it to the side, so you can have a little bit of a better grip. We're gonna also cut this in chunks as well. Now I know some folks like more onion, more tomato, that's okay. Whatever formula you wanna follow. Whatever we don't use, we're gonna put on the side, and again, we can save it for later on for different recipes. Put that in here, it's looking really good, folks, and it also is smelling fantastic. Now we're gonna move over. I have here jalapeno pepper, but most people will use a serrano pepper, or you can use a jalapeno pepper. Now the heat's gonna be inside of the actual jalapeno itself, but you could pit it out, you can take out the seeds, depending on to everybody's taste buds. It's 100% easy flow, DIY salsa. So here I'm just cutting it in rings, and then I'll go ahead and chop it up a little bit more as I go. We like things a little hot over here, so we're gonna leave the seeds in as well too. But you can always pit them out. I don't want y'all trying this and then calling me later on telling me it was a little too hot. nice good chunks of jalapeno right here. Put everything over to the side. Put that and transfer it over to our bowl. Clean off the knife. And then we're going to finish off with some lime. You can use big limes, little limes, whatever y'all have available. Of course, if you use some little limes, then you're gonna probably have to use a little bit more than we would if you had the big limes. All right. Now, a little trick that you can do is you can just squeeze this upside down instead of squeezing directly. That way you don't get the lemon seeds in there as well. That's usually what I do. I just cover my hand and make sure that's a little bit further away from you. Just because of the simple fact that sometimes that lime juice can be a little tricky, come at you. And if you don't have the hand strength, don't feel the necessity to do this with just your bare hands. Or you can get a lime squeezer as well too. I'm gonna do one more, folks, just because I got the size of the lime itself. Here we go. Gonna just clean up after myself for a little bit. Now, one of the things that you can do, what we gotta do here is we're gonna have to mix this all up. Let me move this out of the way. Mix this all up for a little bit, and then what we can end up doing is we're gonna put some salt. Just a little bit, we don't have to put a ton of salt in there. And what that salt does, especially if you leave it on the side, this PicoDeGallo, for about anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour, if your guest can wait that long, because sometimes we make this and the kids just go at it. So what the salt will do is it'll just draw out a lot of flavor from everything that's in here. Okay, now if you wanted to, you can also put a little bit of garlic powder, garlic salt. It's completely up to you. You can just put a little bit for taste. Just to add a little bit different flavor to it. Now what you can do too is I had already pre-cut an avocado, and you can also most definitely cut some avocado and put it in there, but you can also do this as well too, just to make things look a little bit nicer, depending on if you got invited to a party and just kind of want to stand out a little bit from your traditional PicoDeGallo. And now you take a spoon and you pit it out a little bit just to make a nice little base for it. Then what you can end up doing is taking some of that beautiful salsa that we just made, PicoDeGallo, just put it right inside the avocado. It just makes for a really nice display. And you can line up several of these and just go ahead and take them to the party in a party tray, or you can just hand them out for those of us that are very carb conscious. You don't have to do this as well. You can do that, as well too, if you're very carb conscious. So this is with the avocado on there, if you can see that. And this is gonna be our finished product right here. So we're just gonna fast forward like it's been sitting there for about 15-20 minutes or so. And you can see it's got great texture, great visual appeal, and also too it's gonna taste great. So usually you can just get a bag of your favorite tostada chips, whichever ones you want. Put these around as well too, and just enjoy it, my friends. It was a pleasure having you here today at the Ayala household. I hope that you can join us in person one day. You are more than welcome anytime. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful, splendid, blessed day.